Good morning, my dear students. So here I am again with Cambridge International School, the SUA, to give you something new in your economics. So as you know, whole world is suffering with COVID-19 pandemic, but we are not going to suffer in our studies with Cambridge International School e-learning initiative. So what we are going to do today, so that would be coming in your mind. So let's continue with today's things which we have to do. So let's start. So we were doing now the last part of your chapter number 3. The name of the chapter is Money and Credit. So your last topic is sources of credit. We're going to discuss about this. So grade 10 subject is economics and my name is Miss Sarita Sani. So I'm your teacher for economics. Let's begin now for today's topics. So topics which we are going to cover today, the first topic is variety of credit arrangements. So second is sources of credit, formal and informal credit. So we will learn about this in detail, and after this we have self-help groups that also we are going to discuss in the next third point. So next fourth is again the questions to be done for today. So let's start with first topic of your chapter now. So in the book you need to open your page number is, let me tell you. So your page number is 46. So in that page number they have given you few examples. On the basis of those examples I'll just tell you how people arrange credit from various resources. So you just have to go through all the examples and read all the things from the chapter. So let's start with this. So the first thing is loan from money lenders. So previously what people were doing, they were taking loan from the money lenders. You remember the time period when somebody we have seen in Hindi movies sometime, the old one. So in that they were mentioning sometimes the person is going to the person who is sitting on the table with one cap on his head and the spectacles that would be on the nose of that person, and that person was always telling that person to put thumb impression when he was giving money. So that person was money lender. So people nowadays even prefer to take loan from money lenders, so they are arranging the credit like this. Then is the loan from banks. So people are trying to take loan from bank. Now in banks we have two types of banks. We have public as well as private banks. So people nowadays prefer taking loan from even banks. So if they are not having the proper like source documents for taking their loan, or they can we can say that for business purpose, so in that case they are preferring to take loan from private banks. But if they're having all legal statements, all the things with them, so in that case, they are taking loan from the public bank. In generally public bank, they are charging less interest. And when we talk about the next source, that next credit is from loan from cooperatives. Similarly, by like banks, similarly we have cooperatives. Cooperatives are also formal organizations which are providing loan to the people. So these are generally we will discuss about these types even in the detail in the next slide. So next is the large farmers. So in grade 9, if you remember, we have done that Savita has taken loan from Tejpal. So that is the same concept. People are taking loan from the large farmer who are small farmers or who are the landowners. So they are taking loan like this. Then is the again loan from the landowners. So people who are already zamindars, so they are also providing people with the loan. So these are the basic credit arrangements how we are making in rural areas. So we are talking about this. Now next is cooperatives. So what are cooperatives? Besides banks means after bank, the other major source of cheap credit in rural areas are the cooperative societies or the cooperatives. Cooperative societies and cooperatives both are the similar words. Fine. So we can say the same name for a single person. Members of a cooperative pool their resources for cooperation in certain areas. Now, what they do, all the members of cooperative societies, they collect the money and then they are just helping other people on the basis of charging interest from them. So they are providing them with the loan like banks. So what are the different types of cooperatives? Generally, we see farmers cooperatives. So you might people who are having their farming background, they might have listened about this farmers cooperatives. So whenever they have to grow the crop in the beginning season, so they are always taking the loan from cooperatives. So these are generally farmers cooperatives from where farmers are taking loan. Similarly, we have weavers cooperatives. Now the people who are just weave cloth or who are the weavers. So for them also they are making the cooperatives. Then is the industrial workers cooperatives. So industrial workers also have their cooperative societies. Then is Krishak cooperative. So this is again the famous type of cooperative which is helping the farmer to take various types of loans. So we will discuss Krishak cooperative in detail in the next slide. So next is the functions of Krishak Cooperative. So it provides loans for. So Krishak Cooperative provides loan for the people who are in the farming sector. So that is purchase of agriculture implements. So if they want to buy any of the agriculture tools or implements, so they are providing loan for buying those things. Then is the cultivation and agricultural trade. So for commercial purpose agriculture and for cultivation purpose they're providing them with the loan. Then for fishery also they're providing loan. If somebody wants to start with the fishery, then also they are providing the loan. Then construction of houses, they are providing loan for that. A variety of other expenses if you want to, like some of the some of the like time period in which farmers require loan for the marriage of their children. So in that purpose also Krishak cooperatives are providing loan. Next is the sources of credit. So basically we have two types of credit. First is formal credit, then is informal credit. So when we talk about the formal credit, let's do it in detail. So when we talk about formal credit, it is basically concerned with banks and cooperative societies constitute formal sector of credit. So banks and cooperative societies, the loans which are provided by banks and cooperative societies, these are called formal credits. So rest are the features. Let's discuss in detail. So commercial banks, cooperatives and regional rural banks constitute the formal sector of credits. So in addition to the banks and cooperatives, we have commercial banks, then cooperative societies, then regional rural banks. All these constitute formal sector credit. The Reserve Bank of India supervises the functioning of formal sources of loans. They collect low source of interest. Then they follow some well-defined rules and procedures. So this is what they are doing. So they are working under the RBI's guidelines. So this is how the formal credit operates in Indian society. Now let's uh, move to the next informal credit. So what is informal credit? Now the word informal tells you the loan which will be taken with the informal way, or we can say which we are taking from landlords. Then we are taking loan from moneylenders, traders, relatives, friends, or other sources of credit. We can also include employers here. So credit constitute the informal sector of credit. So we constituted it as informal sector credit. Now in detail, if we are going to talk about the informal lenders include money lenders, traders, employers, relatives, and friends, etc. So we include all into the informal lenders. Sometimes they are asking you question, who are informal lenders? So you have to give answer for this. So there is no organization which supervises the credit activities of lenders in the informal sector. Yes, in the formal sector there was an organization, that is RBI, Reserve Bank of India. So they were taking care of all the activities and supervise them for loan. Now they collect a high rate of interest as compared to this informal sources of credit. Formal sources of credit are charging a low rate of interest. Then is they do not follow any rules and procedures. Yes, but informal they are always following the rules and regulations. So next is the difference between formal and informal sources of credit. This you have to read it yourself and note it down because this is in the simplest of words. So I've discussed already with you the previous part. So this is based on those parts. So you have to do it in your basis in the notebook for the proper learning of this, because by doing this difference we are able to do at least three questions. So one, if somebody is going to ask you only about formal sector loans, so you will be able to attempt that question. Then if you are if you are asked in the question about informal sector loans, so you are able to give you are able to give answer regarding informal informal sector loans. So if somebody is going to ask you in the question paper difference between formal and informal credit, so in that case you are able to give the difference between both. So with this kind of question we are able to prepare three questions. So I really like doing all these differences. Next is the self-help groups. So this is going to be the last topic for today. So self-help groups. So like banks are giving loan, so everybody is not able to take loan from banks. So they are sometimes having shortage of their documents. Sometimes they are not having much money to pay interest even. So some of the people are already very poor in nature. So because of that, there is a new concept occurred, that was self-help groups. So a typical self-help group can be, SHG is the short form for this. So a typical self-help group can have 15 to 20 members, usually belonging to the same village. So here you should have the people who are living in the same area, or they might be the people who are working in the same area. So here they have mentioned belonging to the same village. Then the main motive of the self-help groups is to pool the savings of the poor people. So what they're doing, they're pooling the savings of the poor people. So in this, every person, 15 to 20 members of the village who are poor in nature, they are just going to collect money from each other and then save it. Savings per member can vary from, now how much they can put as a member into the savings in the SHD. So that is the amount is 25 rupees, minimum is 25 rupees, and maximum it may be up to 100 or more. So they can save this much of amount depending upon the ability of the people and strength of the group. So they can ask for this much of the amount for saving. Then self-help groups provide loan to their members at a reasonable rate. So all the members, whenever they have a requirement of loan, so they will be provided with the loan from the money they have saved saved with the self-help groups. So they are providing them with the reasonable rate of interest. Fine. After a year or two, when self-help group is successfully doing work for a year or two, if the group is regular in savings, it becomes eligible for bank loans. So they can take loan from the bank and they can start even their own businesses as all together. The they save the things save the money together in the group, so they can take the loan and then they can start their small business. So this can be also possible. So after a year or two, self-help groups are eligible for taking loan from the banks. Then his loan is sanctioned in the name of the group with the main motive to create self-employment opportunities for the members. So yes, again the same point. So with the loan that is taken from the bank, they can start their own business, self-employment opportunities. So that will be their own business they can start. Then in the recent years, many commercial and cooperative banks have provided loan to these self-help groups for releasing mortgaged land. So sometimes they are taking loan. So the purpose why the cooperative societies and commercial banks are providing them with self-help groups with the loan. First thing is for mortgage to release the mortgage land, गिरवी रखी हुई land को छुड़वाने के लिए. फिर उसके बाद then is for meeting working capital needs. So if they're doing any they started their self-employment opportunities or business, then if they need any kind of working capital requirements, so for that purpose they are taking loan. Then for housing materials, so they, if they are making any houses, so for housing of materials they are just taking loan. Then if they are starting any business, small business like ready-made garments, they are just making ready-made garments. For that assets they require swing machine. Then is handlooms, kettle, etc. for dairy purpose. So these can be the example for this when they require money. So self-help groups are providing loan for these purposes. Then the most important feature of self-help group is the most of these groups are being organized by women. So maximum self-help groups till date are made by women. So the first self-help group was Umul even, that was started in Gujarat. So that was the point. Then these are helping women to become financially self-reliant. So they are just making female with financially independent, and they will just make them secure in the financial terms. Then the regular meeting of the groups provide a platform to discuss and act on a variety of social issues. Even self-help groups meetings are sometimes they are the platform for discussing some social issues like variety of like social issues as health, dowry, domestic violence, child marriage, etc. So they are discussing on all these various topics. Next thing which they are talking about, what the questions which we have to done for today. So the first question is, what are the variety of credit arrangements? So what are the varieties of credit arrangement? Then is define cooperatives and give different types of cooperatives. So what are the functions of Krishak cooperative that you need to write down? Then explain the formal and informal credit in detail, like I've explained to you with the features even, so you have to explain it with the feature and definition. Then as distinguish between formal and informal sector loans, so you have to give the difference that I've given you 9 points for there, so you have to do all the 9 points. So in the question, maybe it can be asked for maximum of 5 marks, so you are able to write then 5 points. Then as explain self-help groups in detail, so we have discussed in the last part of your chapter. So self-help groups we have already discussed. Now, in the end, I would say thank you. God bless you. Have a nice time at home. Start your learning in the best manner with us. So, if you find any difficulty in your learning point, so you can give me a call at any time. So, I'll be available to you, and I can say enjoy learning at home, but stay happy, stay healthy, and stay safe. Don't leave your home for anything if there is anything, if it is not very urgent. So God bless you, and pray for humanity so that the COVID-19 pandemic will end soon. God bless you. Thank you. Happy learning at home.